Yeah.
Yeah. So I got me some spritzer. I feel better. She said, yeah, I got mine in a cup. What are you drinking?
Me?
Mhm.
Red wine.
Red what?
Red wine.
Red wine.
Okay,
I
so
used to drink red wine. It gave me a headache.
cheers.
Cheers.
Eva, I said it's menage a trois. Since I can't have one, I might as well drink one.
Exactly. I used to drink that. Then it started giving me headaches.
Well, if you get the blend, it won't give you a headache. You got to get the blend. That menage a trois shouldn't give you a headache. That's
No, I'm just saying red wine started giving it to me. So
you got to drink the blend.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much for joining us tonight for Dating 40 and Beyond. Appreciate you guys coming. Woo! So I want to go around and introduce everyone, let you tell us a little bit about yourself before we jump into it. So first, we're going to start with Miss Eva. Miss Eva is the producer of this show, and I'm so excited to have her with me because we have a long history. We actually worked on Sonoran Living together, and she was the producer there when I had my segment. So I'm going to let her kind of introduce herself and tell you a little bit about why she's here and what we're doing.
yes, I'm excited to be producing this show alongside and being with Lanika. We do have a storied history, very successful girlfriend relationship, which is awesome. And it's good to find good girlfriends. And I am a publicist, journalist by trade. I am 54 years old and I haven't dated in a long, long time. So I'm looking forward to our conversations with our guests and talking about maneuvering through this 40 and beyond.
Thank you, Eva. So let's go around. You guys just tell us what you want us to know. If you want us to know your age, tell us your age. You want us to know what you do, tell us what you do. If you don't want it, then just tell us what you want us to know. So let's go with Kate. Tell us a little bit about
Yeah.
I am Kate Pierce. Eva and I went to college together back in the 80s. I think we actually lived in the dorm together too. Yeah, so yeah, we've been together a while. I am an attorney. And what else about me? Yeah, that's what. And I'm in this office because, you know, attorneys never stop working.
And then Renee, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, my name is Renee, and I am a professor at Penn State University, and I live in State College, Pennsylvania. But right now I'm remote. I'm actually in my favorite place, my place that makes me the happiest, and that is at the ocean on the beach in La Jolla, California. So I am living a blessed life right now. I'm very excited to be here.
Love it, love it. So I want to really get into this because Eva and I were talking. We was chatting it up, and we were talking about how dating after 40 is so different from when you were in your 30s and when you were in your 20s. I know I'm divorced. I don't know if you guys have been married and divorced. Who's been married before? Okay, so I found that after I got divorced, it was really different for me. It was hard for me to relate to the new style of dating that included social media and included all these different ways of reaching out. Men didn't call you anymore. They wanted to text you all the time. It was just really different. So as a 40-plus woman re-entering the dating world, I just started to wonder if I was the only one going through this, or were other women experiencing some of the same things. And so one of the questions that came up was, what do you do when you meet a man, he has it going on, you enjoy him, you're having a great time, you go on some dates, you're able to communicate, he checks all your boxes, but then he has one issue. He's living with his mama, or his mama's living with him. How do you feel about that? Does that turn you off if you have already started seeing him and you really like this guy? Would that turn you off if he lived with his mama or his mama lived with him? So anybody can jump in here.
I think it depends on why they're living together.
Yeah.
Okay. What would be acceptable, Kate?
Well, I live with my mother because my mother's 87 years old and needs someone to live with her, and I don't want to put her in a home.
Okay.
And so I live with my mother because it works out better for the rest of her life, and I just don't want to do that. So I live with my mother. I sold my house and moved in with my mom because familiarity is important to her. I could have moved her to my house, but it would have been more difficult for her because
Yeah.
she would have been moving into my life as opposed to her having her friends and her senior center and her church. So I moved in with her. So I don't think that should be again, it's about why do you live with your mama? Do you
The
live with your
why.
mama because you can't do no better? Or do you live with your mom because you made a conscientious choice to make a sacrifice for the woman who sacrificed for you?
That's the part, right? Is it because you can't
Love
do
it.
no better? What's the issue?
Yeah, because
What's that?
mostly if men will treat you the way they treat their mother. I believe that. So if he lives with his mother because he's trying to take care of her, then that's like major points for me, you know. But and his mother, like my ex-husband, his mother lived with him and he took care of her. So, I'm sure that was very challenging for him, but that was like a respectable, honorable thing to do. So I wouldn't have a problem.
But if he's living with his mother and she is footing most of the bills because he doesn't have his act together, as far as my thought process would be about having your act together, I have a different thought process about that. Yeah, I'm sure as all you guys do. As I'm speaking for you, because I know that to be true. I just don't understand it. It would be like me living with my dad. Why am I living with my dad? Because my dad's taking care of all the bills because I can't get my act together. I can't get a job. I can't maintain a residence. I can't maintain a car or whatever it may be. Why am I'm living with my dad because of those reasons. I wouldn't date someone like that. Unless, only thing I could say is if they were in between things. They maybe were moving from out of state, like Renee, you're everywhere. So, it's so beautiful, your life. So if they were maybe moving from LA to Arizona, they needed, the house is getting done. That'd be different to me. Or anything that made natural sense to me would be okay. But just to be doing it to do it, not either. Not
What if
either.
they did it just because it's saving money?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
fine, right?
So this is the thing. So I kind of still have an issue with that if they're doing it just to save money. Because when you are, to me, you're a man, you're in your 50s, what exactly are we saving for, right? So that's the conversation we need to have. What are you saving for that you have to live with your parents at this point in your life? Why wouldn't you just downsize to save money? Is there something just really significant you're saving for, or just in general, you're just trying to save money? Because just in general, just trying to save money is problematic for me. Because I feel that you should maintain yourself. Why are you living off of your parents? And this is not just men living with their parents. This is kind of a theme that I have seen with some men in this age group, where they have come to the end of their, I don't want to say the end of their career, because they could continue to work, but they've chosen to step back from their career. They've chosen to do something different now. And so now their money is funny. Why is your money funny? Why did you get into this position other than losing your job, being laid off? That's something totally different. But why did you get into this position now at this age? Why didn't you make this decision when you were in your 30s or your 40s? Why are you waiting until you're in your 50s and 60s to save money in general? You don't want money to be at the forefront of your relationship talk, but how important is it to you? I'm asking you, I really want to know, how important is the money conversation when you're considering dating someone long term?
Well, I can be broke all by myself. So, but outside of that, I wanted to jump back to the other question, because a friend of mine who is in her 40s just started dating a guy, and she really, really likes him, and he's still living with his ex-wife.
Oh,
I had that happen. So tell me about it. Keep
It's
talking.
That's
because,
fire.
financially,
Yeah.
it's, they were married for a long time, 17 years. My thing is, at this age, everybody's going to come with some baggage.
Yeah.
You have to be able to say, okay, well, let's describe the baggage. Let's look at it and see what's going on, and then you have to be willing to either accept it or not accept it. We all have it. So that's where she's in it now, because a lot of people who she tells, they get really concerned for her, that he is just playing her, playing them, that sort of thing. But I personally think, after listening to her, I think he's legit, trying to financially get into a position where, he can go out on his own and they can separate the house. I lived with my husband for a couple months after we divorced, because financially it made sense. We had kids, it made sense. And then eventually, like, okay, I got to get up out of here,
He blocking.
So, I looked it up, and it happens more often than not.
It happens a lot, but is it fair? Is it fair to the person that you're trying to get to know? I'm going to tell you briefly my experience. So I started seeing a man. This is shortly after my divorce, probably within the first 6 months of my divorce. I started seeing a man that checked pretty much all my boxes. He owned his own business. We had a great time. We had great communication. He was, seemed to be totally invested and into me. And after about 3 weeks or so, I started asking him why he would never come and have dinner at my house. Like, we would always either grab something to eat for lunch or meet for breakfast, but I would invite him for dinner and he would be like, no, that's okay. He might come over, but he'll be like, no, it's all right, I'm going to eat later. So one day I said, hey, I'm just curious, because I cook. I can really cook. So I'm trying to figure out, why don't you want to have dinner at my house, right? We're really getting close. And he said, well, because I'm going to have dinner when I get home with the boys. And so that was like, ding, ding. Oh, wait a minute. You have dinner when you get home with the boys, but don't the boys live with their mother? And he was like, yeah. Okay, so are you living with your ex-wife? He was like, yeah, I rent a room from her. And that's okay? Well, I'm not about to go out. I want to be with my sons every day. I want to see them every day, but you're going home and having dinner as a family.
Mm-hmm.
And his idea was, she knows about you. I talk about you. I post about you. She should, you should be fine with that. I'm not okay with that.
Yeah, that's a little weird. Yeah.
Isn't that
if you live in the same house like that, you usually have separate lives.
right?
Yeah, but that they're still like co-parenting, co-mingling, and it does happen, but I think I would be I would have some anxiety about that. It wouldn't work with me. I couldn't do it.
Is it fair? Like, how does she honestly feel about it?
I told her she needed to ask questions.
Yeah.
I think they're already at the point now. It's been 3 weeks, I think, since been dating. And I told her, I said, you need to ask some questions, and I think the reason that she didn't ask those questions early on, because I think she didn't want to hear the answer, because she really liked him. He was very sweet, but I think now it's time to ask some really important questions, like, why is he still there? What's the timeline? And what kind of relationship is this? And so I think those are fair questions to ask. And then from there, she can make a decision if she wants to move forward, with it. But at the same point, I said, make sure that you let him know that you're not trying to pressure him to move out, because he can't come live with you, but definitely just let him know that, you need to have that information. And I think that that's fair. But,
Is she willing to? Do you think she's willing to ask?
Yeah, she said she was going to. So
Okay.
I'll keep you posted, but she
Keep
said
us updated. I want to know.
yeah, yeah, and I told her that I would be completely honest about it, and to let her know whatever he tells her, I'll let her know what my opinion is on that. But like I said, it's like when you're over 40, that's one of the things is people come with baggage.
We
And
all come with baggage, right?
people have it.
Right.
We have it. I mean, when I go to visit, when I live in Pennsylvania, when I go visit my daughter in Arizona, I sometimes stay with my ex-husband.
Okay.
And so whoever I would be dating would probably be like, well, that's kind of weird,
Yeah.
But my friend, she has Christmas, New Year's, Thanksgiving, a whole bunch of holidays with her ex-husband, his new wife, and his other ex-wife. I mean, they all get together and have like this family thing.
It's a little bit different. I
I know,
think the person who was left, a lot of times is not over it. Right. So the person who left is like, okay, I'm cool. We cool. I'm just staying here to save money or whatever. The person who was left is harboring something. And that's what I felt. I felt that not only was it not fair to me, it's not fair to this woman that you're still living under her house, under her roof, and you're getting up every morning to go see another woman.
Yeah.
And spending all day out and coming back at night to eat her food. Right? Under her roof. Just being our sister's keeper. Like, do we want that? Do we want that energy going into our relationship? No. So I think more so, this is more apt than a man living with their mother, right? They live with their mother. We can go into whatever the reasons are. But if you're living with your ex, I really want to know why. Like, seriously, why? And why are you dating? Maybe it's not time yet.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you need to take a beat. I don't know. What do you guys think?
You asked about money. I mean, I call him my non-boyfriend, my last non-boyfriend. We have history together, but I'm older than he is, as I make more money than he does. And it was never really a problem for me, at least, but I could tell sometimes it was a problem for him. And yeah, so I think if I were to date someone, like really date someone now, I would definitely make sure that they were equal or more than me.
Put the bill, Renee, more than he did?
I never fit the bill, girl.
Okay.
I have a rule now. You never paid for money. I don't think I've ever paid for one single dinner. Not that I'm opposed to it, but I'm a traditional person stuck in a trendy body, but I'm very traditional. Like, you open doors, you pay the bill, you take out the trash. I'm like all about that. And I make that really clear. So, but he was okay with that. And, but he always, paid for everything. And now he's in a better position. I mean, this has been a long-term kind of on and off kind of thing. And, he never had a problem with it. But
what made you feel like he had an issue then? What made you feel that he was?
Maybe like a couple months ago we were talking and he told me about how he would have to like save his money to like take me out to the dinner that I would want to go to. And I didn't have any idea that, it was causing that kind of like
anxiety in him.
Anxiety, yeah. And he never mentioned it, but until later on he told me. So
that's super interesting. So I think Kate had brought it up, right? The whole intimidation factor. And I think it plays out in so many different ways, right? It really manifests in really interesting ways. I remember have my ex-fiance, I remember watching Being Mary Jane. Remember the show on BET? So we were watching that, and remember the guy that was having an affair with her, the married guy? So he was in counseling with his wife, and he told his wife that he never feels that anything that he does will be good enough. He will never be good enough, no matter how many promotions he gets, how much money he makes. it will never be good enough for her because she never saw him as her equal or, you know, above. So while we're sitting there watching that, I could tell like there was tension. You know, you can just feel like tension. So, you know, I asked him like, what's going on? Like, what are you feeling? And he was like, that's how I feel. That's how I feel. Like that felt like my life. And I said, well, how do you feel that way? I don't care how much money you make. It doesn't matter to me. You know, we're getting married. I don't care. And he said he just felt that. He felt that he would never be enough. So what I told him, and maybe, you know, sometimes I'm too blunt, but I told him, I said, that's an internal issue. I can't fix that for you. Mm-hmm. That's something you're going to have to fix. You know, I can't do anything about the way you feel about yourself. You know, all I can do is tell you that I want you for who you are. And if you don't believe that, then that's internal. That's work you need to do.
And I think it's a lot of pressure.
Oh, Keena! Woo!
Well, I've been wanting to jump in, but I just couldn't find a good place to actually add a comment. So money, unfortunately, men place a lot of value on money and their ability to provide. And they, even over the age of 40, over the age of 50, they have to feel needed financially, even if they earn less than you. If they earn less than you, they've got to feel confident enough to be with someone who earns more than them. But they associate power with their ability to earn and pay. Like, it's not, for us, it's not a power move. I mean, we may be working and earning income because we're pursuing careers that are fulfilling, and yes, we want to provide for our kids and build a legacy, etc. But it doesn't necessarily, money doesn't necessarily equate to power in the household for most women, but for men it does.
Hey, what's been your experience? Because you're the one that brought up the insecurity angle.
I think that, I mean, I've encountered it where like you meet, and if they are not professionals, whatever that means, right? If they're not professionals, I think initially seems like they're always intrigued and they think they're going to be okay. And then you get into, you know, your life is what it is with when you're a professional at a certain level, your career is such a vital part of who you are. And it doesn't mean that it is who I am, but it is a vital part of who I am, right? So like, you know, when you introduce, you're like, oh, so he's a mechanic. And I'm like, I'm fine with you being a mechanic because you fix my car, it makes me happy. I'm good. Life is good. Thank you very much. But when you go into certain social settings, it seems like, again, there's that whole male ego, which I have no control over. I can't control that. But you can tell that there's this discomfort, and then it becomes an issue. And if you're like to yourselves all the time, then it's fine, but you can't stay together all the time. At some point, you've got to venture outside of your relationship and interact with others. And other people see it differently too, because then other people are like, you know, either you're playing above your class or you're playing below your class, and people make comments like that, and then you got to deal with it. And it's like, and it's not easy because there's not anything, what can you, I mean, you know, if you're going to take care of me, then I can stop doing this, but
right.
Short of that.
I have a question for all of you, because I find that we don't normally talk about money. We're not the ones that bring it up. We don't say, well, I make this much and you only make that much, right? That's not a conversation that we're having. We're not concerned about, usually, especially if you are self-sufficient, you're really not concerned about how much money he makes, as long as he can take care of himself. That's been my experience. As long as you can take care of yourself, you can pay your bills, you're not looking for a sugar mama. I don't care how much money you make. right? Just treat me good. But when the conversation comes up, it always makes us seem like we are the ones that have the problem. Like we have a chip on our shoulder because they don't make enough money. I don't know what enough money is. Like, what does that even mean? I don't know what that means. Enough money to live, that's enough money to me.
And I think it's the dual thing. I think it's both money and position. I think it's both. I think there's, like white collar, blue collar thing.
I feel like that's always the issue. It's like, you like a man that can get things done, that can work with his hands. That's sexy. That's attractive. And then you got to deal with the backhand of that, right? You're like, I actually like it. I like that you do that. So you feeling less than is totally internal. I don't have anything to do with that because I'm into it. I'm down with it.
But they used to call those kind of men, I can't think of it. Not a roughneck. Yeah, that's what it was, roughneck.
Ooh.
I'm old. I'm old. Kate, you're younger than me. Gotta get a roughneck. You don't remember that?
There's some statistics that say we would like to date someone who's like our father. My father was hard, and I always look for someone who works really hard, and who can fix things, and who is a man of God, and who is kind and loves his family and nice. Like my friend said, my friend stopped dating a guy because I said, "Why'd you break up with him?" She goes, "He wouldn't write a check to charity." She was just like, you know what I mean? So she had her like. So I'm like that too. So I love a hardworking man too. So
me too. I do too.
I don't want a roughneck though, like me.
No, like a roughneck meaning that will be down for working hard. If anybody come to the door trying to fight y'all, he get behind me, baby.
Yeah,
being that type of work with his hands, be able to. Oh no, I can't touch that. He fix your car, something breaking in the house. That's what I mean by roughneck, not the other. Yeah, a man's man.
Man.
Yes, yeah, alpha male.
Secure. I think we want to feel secure. Ultimately, we want security, not necessarily just financial security, but we want to feel safe.
Yeah.
I do feel like for me though, there's a delicate balance between accepting the difference in income or blue collar, white collar, etc. And but the person has to have the ability to seamlessly integrate into my world though. I don't care what you do, blue collar's fine, but he has to be able to integrate. No one cares that he earns less than her, but he's got to be able to fit in. That is important. He's got to be confident and he's got to be able to fit in, because if I take you somewhere and you can't hold a conversation with people that I'm associating with, that's a problem and that's embarrassing. So it has nothing to do with how much you make, really. I mean, most people don't start conversations out with, let me see, how much do you earn?
I think when they are intimidated, they make it about that. And then it's hard to have an authentic conversation about it because the response is usually, I'm not intimidated by you, right? And it's, okay, I didn't say you were, I'm saying, what's the issue?
And I don't think they ever come out and say the words, I'm intimidated by you, but when they're like, are you okay with just going to Red Lobster? And you're like, Red Lobster's fine. Or they say something like, I know you're used to better than. And you're like, because of course I can afford to take myself where I want to go.
Right.
If I don't want to go, I don't want to go. And if I want to take you, I can take you too. So that's really not, but you can tell that that's an issue for them by the way they phrase it. Like,
by the way
I really would like to be able to take you somewhere nicer. And you're like, no, I'm
what
good.
happens? But what happens when you ask the question? So when they continually say things like that, and you ask the question, what's really going on? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm the only person that's so, blunt like that. But I'll say, what's really going on? And then they're in denial. They won't admit to what's really going on.
And I think, again, it's an individual thing. And the person I'm thinking about now, I kept having to say, no, it's okay. Seriously, it's fine. And then then it's like, oh, let me treat you. Have you ever been here before? Would you like to try?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not because I don't like Red Lobster, that I don't. And, you just and then, because then you do start starting to see, I just have found that I like my fish to actually be fresh and not frozen. So it's not I don't want that. I want it. And then you become that girl. And so for me, then it becomes internal, right? Because then I become that girl, right? And then it's always, having grown up being that girl, the snooty girl, then I'm like, I don't want to be the snooty girl. So then I have to suppress my natural self and pretend it's okay.
Now that's a whole nother problem.
Yes.
Suppressing our natural selves, that's not okay.
Never okay. Yeah,
I made a comment to a male friend of mine that I need a man to be able to meet me where I'm at. So I travel a lot, right? I travel for work, I travel for business, I travel for personal, for my kids. I'm always in a different state. I'm usually on a plane 2 to 3 times a week. So I don't have a problem with long distance dating, but he has to be willing sometimes to come to where I'm at. So if I'm like, well, I don't have time, I'm not going to be in town for the next 4 weeks. I'll be in DC. Can you meet me in DC? A man is going to have to be able to do that and want to do that. And so what he told me, this is a friend of mine, he said that that's not fair because now I'm expecting that man to spend money that he wouldn't normally spend so that he can spend time with me. And I'm not sure how I feel about that because this is my life. This is what I don't know. I can't change it. So
here's the thing. Men will do whatever it takes to be with a woman they're really interested in.
Yeah.
They will do whatever it takes.
I believe so.
Or, seriously, or maybe you can't. But then that says something about whether your relationship is going to work. If that's your life and he's not in a place where he can, because again, at this age, we all have a whole lot of things going on, and maybe he still has kids in college. He might have something that prevents him from being able to just drop a dime and fly across the country. So I'm not saying, but then that says that maybe this relationship at this point is not the right thing for either one.
How much isn't this about give and take? Maybe you can, so maybe you can give a little if it's, to me, that's what it is. I definitely agree with you, Kate. It's like, I wouldn't expect them to be able to drop and maybe don't have vacation time. Maybe they don't, something might come up. So I'm not going
to. I wouldn't expect a man to do that every 2 weeks. But my thing is, I'm willing to hop on a flight. I'm willing to, if it's long distance and I have a weekend without my kids, I will hop on a flight and come and see you. You got to be willing to do that for me too, especially knowing that my life is mostly in hotels. So if you're dating me, you got to know that at some point, I might like to see you pop up in a city that I'm in.
But then maybe that's an expectation that is unfair.
But maybe that's an expectation that, maybe it needs to be shared. And maybe, like Kate said,
that's just not the right guy for you.
Yeah, a person who can't do that is not the guy for me. And I'm not the woman for him.
Yeah, perfect. Absolutely. That's just not the right. You guys are just not a match. And that's okay because every single person, I say this all the time, just because I'm single and I meet a single nice man doesn't mean that he's the right single nice man for me. And that's fine. And I will keep it moving.
Sometimes one of the criticisms I've heard from my male friends and from some of my exes who I'm still friends with is that sometimes, especially for Black women, which drives me crazy, I hate that when they start talking about that they think that we have unrealistic expectations and we put these onuses on them that are completely unfair. And I'm like, sometimes, and I have to be honest with, at least for me, that sometimes I do.
You can't even talk about COVID, Lanika.
And men don't have unrealistic expectations.
Oh, they do.
Does. That's why divorces happen. That's why a lot of relationships don't work, is because people have this unrealistic expectation. You look at.
What were you saying, Eva? What was
everything that's happened with this pandemic and all the jobs that people have lost and they've been on their jobs for forever and they're great professional men. Now things are just switching for a lot of people, including me, and so this is going to put another little kink or a little caveat into dating, because they may not have built up vacation, may not have the job that they might be still a month in. Think about how much, and this is supposed to play out for a year or two more. We may have people that are just starting at a new company. So it's just a lot of caveats with this new pandemic happening with dating too.
But I think I think it comes back down to being honest, which was something that we wanted to talk about, is being honest about who you are, what's going on in your life, what you have the ability to do, not just what you want, right? But what you truly can do. But I think that people are like, oh, I could work that out. Oh yeah, I could do that. Oh, let me figure that out in the beginning, until you get, 90 days down the line and you're going, I'm not doing all this. Like, that's just too much. That's a distraction. That's difficult. It's making my life harder. I can't do that.
But isn't that always the test though? Like when it is right, then it isn't that, oh, can I really? Because then you want to make it work. And then when it's right for him, he wants to make it work too, and makes compromising a little bit easier because you both want to be in the same place and occupy the same space in the
or you're just patient, or you're just like, okay. I mean, my last probably real boyfriend, I mean, he worked for BB King. He was on the road all the time. He was just, that's what he did. He drove Mr. King around. So sometimes he would say, oh, I'm going to be, in Pittsburgh. So can you come? I know you're working, can you come? And sometimes I could, and sometimes I couldn't. I was okay with that. So I was just like, he was on the road, like all the time. So I saw him probably a total of probably 6 times in the entire, year relationship.
It was never an issue?
It was never an issue because I talked to him like every day. I talked to him like every day, but I understood what he did, and then I was working all the time. I was teaching and stuff. So I couldn't just I can't just leave. I'm teaching. In the summer, it was a little annoying, but then I could easily go wherever he was going. I could just go, but during the other 9 months when I was teaching, I'm like, okay. I went when I could go, and if I couldn't, it was just okay with it, so.
Yeah, back to Kate's point is that, the baggage, like we all come with baggage, but I think being honest about our baggage is what's missing. I find that that whole thing about, meeting the representative, and then in 90 days, you're like, wait a minute, this is not the person you presented to me. What's happening? This is not, you told me that, this is what it was, and now it's something totally different. I feel like at my age, I feel that I don't have time. I kind of want my person just to be my person, right? So I kind of need you to show me whatever I need to know, whatever the baggage is, whatever the crazy is. I kind of need that to come out early so that we can deal with it. Let's just figure out if that's a crazy I can deal with, because I might be able to deal with your crazy, with your brand of crazy, or I may not be able to deal with your brand of crazy. I might say, oh, that brand of crazy, I can't deal with that brand of crazy I run from. But, it might be something that I'm like, okay, that's not that bad. I had an uncle like that. I could deal with that, or I have a brother like that. I could deal with that. That's not too crazy. But people are so focused on putting your best foot forward, which, we want to put our best foot forward, but their fake foot forward, right? The person they want to be. It's not that they're being disingenuous. It's that they're presenting the person that they wish they were, the person they want to be.
And is that necessarily a bad thing? Because I do it. Like when you first meet somebody, like they don't see you without your makeup on. You don't ever see them without your A game. You're always together. It's, you kind of ease into, and because you want them to meet the person that you want to be,
Yeah, the best version of yourself. But I think meeting the best version of yourself is different than meeting a completely different self.
Now, see, that's the other thing, because some people are running games, which is really different. That's a very, it's a distinction, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes you just, I think everybody does that. And I would be very suspicious of a man who's not bringing me his A game at the beginning. Because if this is, I want you to make some effort, put something into this.
I think what I'm thinking more of is the whole, oh, I'm cool with everything. I'm cool with everything. Everything is cool.
Yeah, I'm done. Yeah, that's not true. I'll see you later. Check you later.
All of a sudden, this is a problem. Oh, it's 90 days. Now this is a problem. Now you have an issue with the conversation we had 90 days ago.
See, that's an occupational hazard right there. I'm like, you told me you good with everything.
That's a nice place to.
Yeah, something has to be like, whoop. So, yeah. Eva.
Oh, I was just saying that's a nice place to wrap up because Kate, you're crazy. Oh, I love
Nothing's
you.
Changed.
It's a well-rounded conversation about life from all our perspectives, and we come from very different perspectives, and it's just such a joy to hear all you guys speak on yours, and it gives you food for thought for your relationships because we're all dating. And I can't wait for the next episodes of this show.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. This was so much fun.
Thank you for the invite.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good night.
Okay,
Thank you, Tina. Thank you, Renee. Thank you, Kate. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.